Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kerry, and I'm an addict. Welcome to GRCNA 39.5, New Possibilities Arise, and welcome to our workshop on steps 10 through 12. Regarding anonymity, when you join in a virtual meeting, you will need to keep your video turned off to guarantee your anonymity. If you turn your video on, you are choosing to be seen by the other participants. You can also change your name or switch to first name plus last initial to protect your identity. Let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Prayer. God grant me the serenity
to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Okay, welcome to the Georgia's Reason First Virtual Convention, written in 39.5 New Possibilities Arise. Our intention for this virtual convention is to make available to our fellowship a weekend of recovery, celebration, and fun. Jeff, could you mute, please? Or somebody could mute. Thank you. We hope that all addicts receive the NA.
Somebody need to make me co-host. Apologize. I'm not co-host to do the muting and unmuting.
Carrie, you're on mute now. Hold on. Zena, let me see.
Okay. Co-host. All right. Let everybody get straight before I finish reading. Let me know when I can go, Risa.
I think you're okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, welcome to Georgia's regional first virtual convention, GRCNA 39.5 New Possibilities Arise. Our intention for this virtual convention is to make available to our fellowship a weekend of recovery, celebration, and fun. We hope that all addicts receive the NA message of recovery while they are participating in this event. It is our hope that the message we carry may truly let everyone know that NA is a place to recover and that no addict seeking recovery need die from addiction. Workshop guidelines. Please dress appropriately on camera. Please keep your microphone on mute unless you are asked to unmute by the host or co-host. If you have a question or need general assistance during the workshop, please contact the host or one of the co-hosts via direct message in chat. If there is time after our workshop speakers finish, participants may have an opportunity to share their experience, strength, and hope on the workshop topic. If you would like to share after the speakers are finished, please raise your virtual hand. Your virtual hand can be raised by going to the reaction window on your computer or by going to More section on your phone. You'll be called on to share and unmute or asked to unmute yourself by one of the hosts if time permits. Please limit such shares to 3 to 4 minutes. I really hadn't asked volunteers for the reading, so Risa, let's see, hold on. Let's see who I can see here. Millie, would you like to read how it works?
I'm Millie and I am an addict. This is how it works. If you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. These are the principles that made our recovery possible. 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, we made direct amends whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
Thank you so much, Millie. And Alan, would you mind reading the 12 traditions of NA?
It would be an honor. Thank you, Carrie. The 12 traditions of NA. We keep what we have only with vigilance, and just as freedom for the individual comes from the 12 steps, so freedom for the group springs from our traditions. As long as the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that would tear us apart, all will be well. Number one, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. Two, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Three, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. Four, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. Five, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. Six, an NA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the NA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest the problems of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Seven, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, NA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the NA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thank you so much, Alan and Millie, for reading. Our first speaker today, he's a personal friend of mine. I've known him for a few years. He has an incredible message. All the messages today have been amazing. I've really enjoyed myself. And I hope, and I know you're going to enjoy the message that Jeff is going to bring. So with that, here's our message. First speaker from North Atlanta, Georgia, Jeff.
Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate that introduction. We had some technical difficulties, but we persevered and we're on. So I'm on my cell phone right now. There's a possibility that I may run out of battery. And if so, I'll yield the balance of my time to the great Robert L. But anyway, so yeah, I guess our topic is steps 10, 11, and 12. And so hang on just a second, because Lauren's got us mic'd up on our computer now so that I won't run out of battery, but I'm also hearing myself. So bear with me a moment.
I imagine he's probably going to get on the computer.
Here you go. How's that?
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Little technical difficulty here. Anyways, yeah, steps 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, I was asked to do this a month or so ago, and I've given it some thought. And one of the things I gotta, just to say from the get-go, I'm a drug addict, and that was my problem. And, I think, briefly to qualify, I used drugs initially because it was a lot of fun and I hung out with people and all that good stuff. Eventually, I used drugs really because it kind of helped me to cope with life. And then toward the very end, which is when I got to meet you guys, I was circling the drain. I had severe problems with addiction and I wanted to stop. But I fit the bill for powerlessness. I tried for probably a couple of years to get off, and I didn't know what to do. And that was 1986, I started going to meetings, and in 1987, January of 87, I finally picked up my last white key tag. And I think the difference was really just making a commitment to recovery. And so that commitment involved getting a sponsor, going to meetings, being of service, but it also involved working steps with the guy who agreed to sponsor me. And I think that's important, because if I'm going to talk about steps 10, 11, and 12, 12 talks about practicing principles in all my affairs. And I think that one of the most important principles that I could really jump into early on was being honest. And I felt like hearing other people share about their experiences with addiction kind of opened me up and allowed me to talk about what was happening with me. And I finally reached that point where I wasn't trying to cover up anything anymore. I was just straight out. This is what happened. I had all these problems, drug overdoses, consequences like jail and relationships ending and so forth. I was able to express that and be honest about it. And for me, that was huge. It's a great beginning. You know, and I went through the steps with, you know, I've been clean for like 34 years. So I've had oh gosh, I guess like 5 or 6 different sponsors, all of them good men, and all of them, I feel like they were put in my life at a time that I needed them and I needed their guidance. And I'm grateful for every single one of them. But the first guy, he taught me all about powerlessness. He talked with me about this step 1, 2, 3 process, where anything that was a problem that was coming up with me, or anxiety, fear, all of that, take it through that, you know, do I have any control over this, or am I powerless? A lot of my problems dealt directly with consequences of addiction. And so I would deal with steps 1, 2, and 3 about my legal problems. You know, powers greater than myself would be a lawyer. I can't stop thinking about using. Power greater than myself would be what we learn in the room is a group of druggies, GOD. Those people knew how to stop using, and I didn't. So I was asking for help. I had health problems, like a chronic cough because of the way that I was doing drugs. I had this chronic cough and it wouldn't go away. And I had kidney problems and a bunch of other things. So I sought help by getting a doctor, you know. So this is not rocket science. It's real simple stuff. It's all about having the humility to ask for help when I need it. And so I did all of that, and I got that step 1, 2, 3 process down in my life. And I tell you what, I really believe is most of the things that come up in my life that are, you know, kind of provoke anxiety and fear and stuff like that, that stuff still works. Steps 1, 2, and 3 still work, regardless of whether it's with a job, a career change, getting married, getting divorced, buying a house, fill in the blank. There's something that now is part of an internal process. And I'm so glad that I learned that early on. And I tell you, early recovery, I learned things that I just didn't know. Things about like practicing acceptance instead of trying to control everything. A level of spirituality, just finding out that I have a relationship with God and being able to turn things over. These were great tools for me. I think, you know, getting rid of so much of the fear that plagued me. I'd get, my mind would just be racing like the hamster in the little treadmill wheel, and I couldn't stop it. And then this little process allowed me to get some peace in my life. I'm gonna ask you to hold on just a second.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll manage.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting glare off my own glasses there. So anyways, I did all that. And I think what all of this does is it leads me to a point where I'm starting to look at myself and I've always been this guy who, you know, problem solution, that was my thing. And step 4 became like a real eye opener for me, in that it requires an amount of courage and to look at myself and to look deeply into myself. And so doing that, I think what I walked away with is a moral inventory. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what my morals are, my values are, and I try to live by them. And I've had guys that, you know, I've sponsored over the years, and I think and I sometimes hear this in meetings, that step 4 is all about, you know, just, you know, talking about all the bad things that I did in my life and sharing my shame and my guilt and all of that stuff. And that's wonderful. But if that's all I walked away with, I think I'd have been shortchanging myself. To define my own morals it was a searching and fearless moral inventory. So I know what my morals are, and I try to live by them. And what I've heard is doing a 5th step is about, you know, having, getting the stuff out and talking about the things that I did, but also it incorporates the first 3 steps where I'm getting honest, I'm open-minded, I have willingness, I have a sense of faith, and then courage from step 4, and then developing integrity. And that's, I think, that principle that I walk away with is integrating all of those principles into my life and becoming that person. And if you guys are anything like me, you find out that you don't do that perfect. I continued to make mistakes. I'll say, you know, in terms of step 6, the things that plagued me the most were 3 character defects. And I know there's a lot more than that, but the ones that really kicked my ass were pride, lust, and I forgot the 3rd one, but it'll come to me. Yeah. Anyway, so those are the things that I worked on with steps 6 and step 7, and just being able to look at those when they come up, recognize them instead of acting on them with which is what I always did. I would start doing something different. And I've heard a speaker say something to the effect of, there's a sacred moment when I haven't acted on a defect and I still have a choice, and turn to that spirituality that I have within me and say, you know, I need some help here. And little by little, I think the defects become less and less, and the things that you know, God replaced. When I don't have room for defects and assets, and when the defects sort of just slide away on their own, is when I'm entirely ready to let them go, and better things come in and replace them. And I think that's, you know, an awesome process while it's happening. And so that's happened with me. And I think after that happens, I look at where defects of character sort of ruined my old relationships. And I wrote about where I harmed people and began that amends process. And I was thinking about this morning. The amends process is really where I kind of felt like I was reintroduced to humanity. And I felt like, you know, I heard this spiritual dude speaking about the awakening and that process that goes on. And I remember, you know, just feeling like I was coming alive. I was rejoining. I used to steal a lot. And I remember one of the things that I felt really ashamed of is this was even before I was a drug addict, I was a kid. And I would go into there was a Catholic church, and they had a soda machine, and I would always raid that, you know, the coin box. They didn't feel it was necessary to lock up their Coke machine. So I would go in there and I would steal all the change, and then I'd grab a Coke and have a smile, and off I'd go. And I always felt, even, you know, even as a kid, that was kind of rotten. But when I got clean, I felt like, wow, what a scumbag thing to do. And I felt like, well, these will be one of the amends that I should make. And I did. I went back, and it's a long story, but long story short is I took a bunch of change that I had saved over like a 5-year period. And I went to, there's a guy who used to bring the inner city hardcore drug addicts in Miami to our home group. His name was Brother Harry. He was a really beautiful man. He was a Catholic priest. And he'd drive the van, and in come the drug addicts, and we welcomed them. And when I was making amends, I figured, well, that's who I really ripped off, is the Catholic Church. And I took all my coins, my quarters, nickels, and dimes, it was a big shoebox full, and I brought them to Brother Harry. And I had a meeting with the homeless, and I sat down and I ate and talked with him about what I'd done. And he said, yeah, well, I'm glad you're cleaning that up. And he was very kind with his words, and he accepted my amends. And that and another amends that happened within the next day, I just felt this things dissolving inside of me that were so much about guilt and about shame, and just freeing up, and again feeling like I joined the human race. And so with that, I finished that, and I'm on step 10 now. And I've worked step 10, where you sit and you write and stuff like that, periodically for years. I'll do it for like a month, or I'll do it for a week or whatever. And one of the things that I think happens is, after you stay clean a while, my inventory was not all about the bad things that I've done and the things that I'm ashamed of. They're more in line with things that I just appreciate. And I'd ask myself a few questions, and this was my 10th step. What happened today that made me glad I'm alive and clean? And then the other part, one of the other questions was serendipity. What happened that I didn't have anything to do with, but I just noticed it? And that could be as simple as somebody letting me in with traffic, or noticing a bird or a butterfly or whatever. These things that just kind of bring little goosebumps and, make me feel good or whatever, and just jot that down. The other thing was, the third question was, where was I of service to another person today? And that didn't necessarily have to be an addict or anything like that. At work, I would do something nice for somebody, whatever, and write it. And and then the last question is one that's, where did I have trouble in my recovery today? So I would write about whatever defect would come up, or if I owe amends to somebody for something. And I think that the sequence of questions was important, because the first three, you notice it kind of went along sort of a positive line. And then the last one was, the areas of trouble. And what happens if I did that step day in and day out for, a week or a month or whatever, the next morning I wake up, I'll have sort of an attitude where I'm looking for those good things to happen, and I'm more reluctant to act out on a defect. And I think what happened with me is, and it was such a change, is having an attitude of positive expectancy, expecting when I go out in the morning that something good is going to happen, or where is there an opportunity for me to be of service. And that changes everything. I think it's 10th step is really, and it's one of those things I still do. I reflect on my day. The point is these are called maintenance steps, because at this point in recovery, I have something to maintain. And that's what I want to do. I sponsored a guy for a while, and he said, no, they're not maintenance steps. You're actually making things better. It's maintaining is keeping them the same. And working steps 10, 11, and 12, you're actually improving. And the guy who sponsors me now, he said that there are action words in all 3 steps. And the first action word is continue. And the 11th step, it's about improvement. And then the 12th step is about practice. So those are the things that I think that begin to happen. And I asked the guy he began sponsoring me, I guess like 6, 7 years ago, maybe longer, I don't remember. But I said, well, so you kind of know about me now. We've been talking a while. What step am I on? And he said, you're on steps 10, 11, and 12. And so those are the steps that I continue to work. He told me, and I believe it to be true, that all of the steps before, you have the same opportunity to work on those 9 steps through working 10, 11, and 12. And it's a little more like tweaking and fine tuning my recovery. And so I do. One of the things I do regularly is I have these books. Right now I'm down in St. Augustine, Florida, not at home, not in Atlanta, but these books came with me. these are all meditation books. And I read every morning. I sit down. Usually Lauren and I will do it together. We'll read a meditation and talk about it a little bit, but I think it sets my day out on a pretty positive course. And any of you all who know me know that I don't always stay that way, but at least my day starts that way. And it's meditation. One of the things I believe, I heard this from a speaker a couple of years ago, and since then it's been part of my consciousness, is what steps 1 through 9 really do is they remove a bunch of blocks that are part of my spirit. They take them away. They're just not there, blocking up that which is within me already. And I also kind of did some like searching, and I think during the different avenues, different disciplines that they have throughout the whole world, a lot of them seem to have one thing in common. They all seem to think that God is within us. And I think that's what happens is when those blocks are removed, the God that's within me is able to come out. And many people say, and I believe it to be true, that really God is love. And so what I'm able to do is receive love and express that love. And those are things that, all I wanted to do is get off of one particular drug. But I look at the way that I have lived my life, and especially in the last few years, and the way that I was living in active addiction. They're two different people. One guy was really jammed up and didn't have a lot going in the way of interpersonal relationships. I wasn't really a loving guy. I think it was really, most of it was what was in it for me. And the thing that mattered the most was drugs. And I can say exactly the opposite is true now, from having worked the steps and having the ability to express love when I feel it. I remember, and this wasn't long ago, Lauren and I were walking down a beach in St. Petersburg, and the sun was kind of setting, and I just got this feeling like goosebumps and warmth and love and so forth. And it was just sort of at the moment kind of overwhelming. And I get that when I'm in meetings. Sometimes I'll hear people that are either sharing things about gratitude or just going through a tough time and feeling compassion for them. That is part of something that happened. And that's what I think the payoff is in working these steps, is an awakening. And that's what step 12 is about. It's about having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. We try to continue to carry this message and to practice the principles in all our affairs, but that awakening is so important. And gosh, I wish there were more meetings where they talked about what it's like to live an awakened life, where the things we now have the ability to appreciate. And at one time, it just wasn't part of life. It was actually, my life was really sort of sad especially the last 3-4 years of active addiction. And I can tell you now, there's so much joy, so much love, and being able to feel that and to express it, it's priceless. So the other part of that is practicing these principles in all of my affairs. That is, something that I strive toward. It's not, like everybody else, I'm not perfect. I certainly have, anybody who knows me well knows that I don't always practice principles in all of my affairs, but I'm a lot better. I'm a lot better than I used to be. That defect that I couldn't remember a little while earlier was anger. Anger was one of those defects that just, I'd lose it, and it affected my relationships. I notice now I rarely get angry. And when I do, it isn't for hours or days at a time. It's, somebody pisses me off and I have the fairly normal reaction. And then kind of as the day goes on, you just let it go. And again, freedom, freedom from a defective character that was really hurting me and hurting my relationships, being able to enjoy life without that. I think, one of the things that I heard, and it just kind of resonated with me, is imagine like a rose on in the early spring where it's just bundled up really, really tight. And as the warm summer or the warm spring days start to come in, that unfolding, and it just begins to open up and bloom. And I feel like that's almost the perfect metaphor for talking about an awakening. So tight and so bunched up, and then being able to open up and freedom. And what the freedom is all about is freedom for me to be myself. Freedom for me to be what God created a long, long time ago. And it just seemed to escape me. So these are great gifts of the program. And so many people get stuck with, well, I stopped using drugs and that's it. I would encourage everybody to go on. One of the things I did around maybe my third or fourth year was a commitment. And the commitment was, I'm going to work all 12 of these steps. And I made that commitment and I stuck with it. And for me, it's made all the difference in how I live and enjoy my life. And I think I've talked long enough. I'll say thank you very much for asking me to do this, and I'll turn it over to Robert. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. I was
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
That
you,
was
Jeff.
very
That
nice.
was
Thank you.
amazing. Wow.
Jeff, I was taking notes, man. I always love hearing you share. Our next speaker, that's the thing I love about Narcotics Anonymous. It's all over the world and all over the nation. And with this convention, I'm so excited about it. And we got our next speaker from, if you like a bison burger, 9 times out of 10, it came from his state, Yellowstone National Park. So with that, I will introduce you, and I can't wait to hear. I never met him, but I'm excited about his message. So all the way from Wyoming, it's Robert K. Take it away.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
Here. My name is Robert Manatic.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
So I sat down last night and I was praying and I was reading out the basic text and I was like, 10, 11, and 12. What do I got to say about 10, 11, and 12? God, come through me and speak through me. Hopefully I'll be able to touch somebody today and help them in their recovery like other people have helped me along the ways, right? And I want to start off by thanking you guys for letting me speak to you guys today. Who would have known I was making a table in a zonal forum a couple months ago, and then out of the blue, somebody asked me to speak, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. Sounds good. But I like to tell everybody, I haven't done this program perfect. I got clean whenever I was 19 years old. I've been clean since October 31st, 2004. So at 19 years old, I don't care what anybody says, but 19 is kind of an immature age. And so I've had to learn how to mature and become an adult in Narcotics Anonymous. Started using at a young age, got clean at a young age, and I made a lot of mistakes as I've been here. Okay. And so I haven't worked this program perfectly. I've worked it very imperfectly. But I struggled with that aspect of my life. I struggled with not being perfect. Having gotten clean at such a young age, I had a lot of people in the recovery in the rooms that had some high expectations of me as I got clean, right? Because, at the age of, I think that Alan did a good job talking about 1 through 9 and stuff like that, and 10 through 12. I'm not going to talk about so much about the prior steps. I'm just going to talk about 10 through 12, just because, what I think my message is today is 10 through 12 right now. Right. So, I've worked all 12 steps with the sponsor. That sponsor has a sponsor, and I'm pretty sure he has a sponsor, and so on and so forth through the line. And whenever I was thinking about this last night, I was thinking about so whenever I talk about imperfection, I went through a divorce a few years back. I was 10 years clean. I almost got loaded. I hadn't been at a meeting in, 6 years probably. I had a sponsor, but I didn't call him. I didn't know how to utilize him. I didn't know how to pick up that 1,000-pound phone and say that I'm not perfect. I had some reservations. that I didn't know about because I wasn't working a program of Narcotics Anonymous. I wasn't doing this deal, and I almost got loaded over that divorce. I was in a lot of pain. And I went to that sponsor and I worked all 12 steps in a matter of like 3 or 4 months. I wasn't messing around. And through that process of divorce, I lost everything, right? In my head, like, this is how I felt. I lost everything. I lost my identity. I lost my children. I lost my house. I was literally living in a camper, a 10-foot camper or 16-foot, a small ass camper that had a space heater for heat. It didn't have any way to cook in it. I was living like I was using, all right, but I was clean. And I remember working those steps, and I remember this sense of relief coming about me. And I remember telling my sponsor, what am I going to do next? What do I do from here? You know, and he's like, just work this program to the best of your ability. And so I got to thinking about 10 through 12. And what came to my head last night was I was thinking about all the mistakes I made and how to make how to live this program consistently and thoroughly in my life from that point on, right? And I you know, like Alan talks about, 10, 11, and 12 are maintenance steps. And part of 10 for me was learning how to allow people to be who they are and not expect perfection. Okay. Part of 10 for me was also taking an honest look at myself every day, day in and day out, and allowing myself to be imperfect, but work to be a better man each step of the way. Okay. And so part of my struggle whenever I went through that process was that I didn't have my kiddo. I didn't have my daughter. My daughter was a year or 6 months old whenever I got my divorce. Her mother relapsed, and I was freaking out. I was freaking out because I didn't know what was going to happen to my kiddo. And my sponsor kept telling me just to put one foot in front of the other and do the next right thing. And so I kept doing the next right thing. I kept doing whatever I could do to be the best person that I could be. And I started learning a lot about prayer and meditation during that process because I had to really rely on my higher power. I had to trust that he wasn't going to let my daughter fall to pieces and that I was going to be okay. She was going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And no matter what, everything was going to be okay. And through that process, I started learning how to meditate. So I'm from a place where, you know, we're kind of conservative and we don't do this new school stuff. And so meditation isn't like it's new school. And so I'd never really tried meditation. I've always been the foxhole prayer kind of guy, like, hey, God, if you help me with this, I promise I'll be a good boy, you know? And it never, you know, I had a relationship with my higher power, but I didn't really understand it. I didn't really understand my higher power at all, right? And so, you know, I met a friend. They were like, you should try this meditation thing. And they said, you know, there's this app that you could try it out on. And I was like, I'm not really all about that. And they were like, do it anyways. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. So I started trying to meditate. And I don't know if you guys are like me. I know most of you guys are. You know, I always had this rat race going on in my head. Like I was always thinking about something else. Like I'd be sitting here having a conversation with you guys, and I'm thinking about everything else outside of this conversation. I'm thinking about, you know, the car payment. I'm thinking about, you know, I'm going to do this tonight. I'm going to go do that. And I'm not here right now present with you guys, right? And what meditation ended up doing was it ended up slowing that down, and I ended up being able to calm down and not be so like everywhere, you know. I was able to be right here in this moment, in this conversation, and just be mindful of everything that's going on around me. Okay. And so bringing up that meditation, you know, this is like 3 years down the road from then, right? And I was meditating all the time. I used to work for the railroad, and I was on trains all the time, and that's a really, really boring job. People think it's cool. It's boring. Okay, all you do is look out a window for like 12 hours straight. It's really boring. But I took that time a lot of times to meditate. You know, I would close my eyes and I would, you know, try to get all my thoughts to go away, and it'd usually work out and everything like that. Well, this one night, I'm on my way back on the train and I'm meditating. And this thought keeps coming into my head. You're going to be a single father and it's going to be okay. And I'm like, just go away, you know, because I didn't really want to be a single father, if I'm completely honest, you know. And so then go away. And it's like, it won't go away, you know. And so I'm like, all right, let's just roll with this, you know. And so I started, you know, just kind of working with this. And this was always a sense of anxiety and stress in my life, like the worry of my daughter, but also the worry of, I might fail, I might suck at this because I don't know how to do this, you know. And so by the end of that train ride, that meditation, there was a sense of peace that came about me. All right, I felt good, I felt okay, life was going on. And I remember I called my girlfriend that morning and I was like, hey, I had this crazy meditation on the train last night, and this, you know, God's telling me I'm going to be a single dad and it's going to be okay. And she was like, okay, you know, that's cool. Well, that day I go back home, I take a nap because I got off at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I go pick up my daughter from daycare. And that was at 2 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, I get a text message from my ex-mother-in-law saying that my ex-wife hadn't been home in a few days. She was living with my ex-mother-in-law, and that she couldn't afford to take care of my child, and that she really appreciated if I just keep her. And I was, excuse me. So I was in the middle of a custody battle at that point anyways, okay? My ex-wife had gotten into it. She'd been drinking and driving, and she got arrested, and so on goes the story, okay? And but here we are, literally less than 12 hours after this meditation. I'm bringing my daughter home, and I mean, I got to visit her, you know, but I'm bringing my daughter home, and I run by the lawyer's office, and I'm like, hey, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. This is what's going on. And they're like, hey, you know, just take her home. Just take her home. I'm like, well, I don't want to get charged with kidnapping or something. I can't trust these people, you know. And they're like, hey, we'll call her lawyer right now. It's okay. Go take her home. So I took her home. And that little girl's been with me ever since. Okay. That's been like 2 years. So I get emotional. And I cry, and I'm not sorry about it. I'm not the guy that's going to apologize for crying. I don't cry. I don't apologize for crying. So 10, 11, and 12. Part of this 12 step is showing people that are new in this recovery program. How many of us lose our freaking kids, man, in recovery for one reason or another? You know, whether it's because we were out there in the streets doing dope, whether it was because we went through a divorce and we, or whatever. For one reason or another, we always hear about people losing their kids, right? But what I'm trying to say today is like, we can get them back. We can get them safe. We just got to trust in a higher power, right? I just got to trust in my higher power that everything's going to be okay. If I continue to live this program the way it's written in the basic text, if I continue to do the next right thing, if I continue to look at myself rather than everybody else around me, because that's something I struggled with whenever I got here, and since I've been clean, is I was an eternal victim. It was everybody else's fault that I was in the positions I was in. Whenever I first started my divorce, it was her fault, even though I was not a great husband. I made some horrible decisions. I was unfaithful. I was not, always the nicest guy. I wasn't the best husband, And so, whatever, I forgive myself for that today. And I move forward from that point, and I choose not to create the same wreckage that I've created in the past. But the only way I know how to do that is by continuing to work this program, doing the 10, 11, and 12. I'm not going to sit back and tell you guys that I sit down and with a piece of paper every single night and answer those questions or, all that kind of stuff. What I can tell you is that I have this thing inside of me today that I know when things aren't right. You know, I know whenever I'm messing up. I can feel that. You know, I know whenever things aren't going well between me and my significant other. I know whenever my daughter's not feeling right. And so then it's time for me to sit back and take a look at myself and say, what am I doing that's making them feel that way? And if I can fix it, and if it's my shit, then I work out, then I do it. You know, I do what I got to do to make sure that the people in my life feel the love and compassion that I have in my heart. It's not my shit, let it go. Not saying I do it perfect all the time. I do my best. You know what I mean? And then, the step 11 meditation prayer, I'm not perfect at that anymore. I used to be really, really good at meditation, dude. I used to pray. I used to meditate my ass off. But I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I do today. I'm very busy now that I'm a single father. She's 5 now. I got to remember she was 3. She was really far behind in schooling. She was struggling so hard, and we got her into special school, and to get her caught up, and now she's ahead of all the other kids. She's so freaking smart, man. So freaking smart. She did not get that from me, but she is so smart. All she wants to is learn, and I just this program taught me how to do all this stuff, man. This program has taught me how to be like, I came in here with a horrible experience of being a child. Like my childhood was really rough. My dad wasn't the best dad. He did the best he could with what he had, but he wasn't great, and one of the amends I got to make since I've been here is my father at 2 years clean. I talked to my dad and I was like, hey, I know I messed up, because my dad was in the military. I messed up his career. I got arrested a lot as a juvenile, and he got passed up for promotions and stuff because of how bad I was. Or I like to use the word troubled. I don't know if I was bad. I was troubled. But nonetheless, I made amends to my dad at 2 years clean, and I said, hey, Pop, I love you, and I'm sorry for the things I've done. Like, what can I do to make it better? He said, Robert, promise me you won't raise your children the way I raised you. And I get to do that today, right? Like I get to make that living amends to my father with my daughter. I don't yell and scream at her. I don't hit her. I reason with her, although reasoning with a toddler is like reasoning with a terrorist. We usually figure it out, though. We usually work our way through it. She's a very, very smart little girl. And, this program's taught me emotional intelligence. If you don't know what that is, look it up, figure it out. Because that's some huge shit. Okay. It's taught me, like, just to be so loving and caring and compassionate. I don't know, man. I don't know if I have a whole lot more to share. I really appreciate you guys letting me speak today, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I always like to leave my speaker meetings like this. If you want something different, you got to do something different. For me, that was the fucking steps. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Robert. Thank you so much.
All right, Robert. Thank you,
Robert,
sir.
thank you so much.
Thank
That was
you.
amazing.
Awesome.
That was good.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff and Robert, for your amazing sharing your experience, strength, and hope, and what NA has turned your lives around. Okay. Reese, what time does this meeting end today? Is it
6:15.
6:15? Okay, so we have about
Yeah.
15 minutes or so minutes, but would any participants who care to share their own experience, strength, hope on our workshop topic, just raise your hand, and we're going to shut it down, I guess, around 6, what, Reese?
6:14.
6:14. Okay, so the floor is open. I thought you was unmuting, Lauren.
I see Elena, you have your hand raised. Would you like to share?
I would. I just want to say thank you to both of you. I'm just sitting here bawling happy tears, and what incredible stories, and so different and yet the same. They are about hope. They're about walking through life with your head held high and dignity and being one of many and being okay. And congrats on getting your little girl back. That's just amazing. And she's got a wonderful papa. And you're both very blessed. And I'm sure you already know that. Thanks, everybody. What an incredible day to go all the way through the steps. This was like the icing on the cake. So, and thanks to all the facilitators and everybody who worked so hard to put this together. And thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, Elena. Tori, I see your hand is raised. Would you
I'm
like?
an addict, yeah, I'm an addict named Tori.
Hey, Tori.
I don't have too much to add either. I don't see how I could after you two. I feel like you guys pretty much said all there is to say, but I really just wanted, thank you, Jeff. I always love to hear you share, although I get to hear it more than a lot of these people. But Robert, I really just wanted to say thank you for sharing. I got clean really young, and so to hear people share about getting clean young and staying clean, because that's where I always lost people, was the staying clean part. I had a lot of young friends when I got clean, and I don't have them anymore. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing, and thank you to everybody else for being here. Thanks.
Thanks, Tori. I'd like to share if that's all right.
Nope. Sorry, Risa.
Go for it.
I'm just kidding. Please
I'm
go.
like, what? Hey, I'm Risa. I'm a recovering addict.
Hey, Risa.
Thank you so much for both of your shares. Jeff, I love you. I've loved you since I met you, and you have seen me get clean, and I'm so grateful for that. And Robert, you have just like made my whole day. I really appreciate your honesty. I really appreciate hearing people tell their story. You know, I think that as I accumulate time in recovery, it's harder for me to fit it all in. And but there are still important things, you know. And so like, I know I don't have to start from I was born in Montgomery to tell a part of my story that has such an impact, and it just really makes me really happy to hear it. I'm on the 11th step right now, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to work on this workshop. You know, when people asked me to sign up to be tech for GRCNA, I just went through and picked the ones that I wanted to go to. Like, I was like, this looks interesting, that looks good, let's go to this one, you know. And I'm so glad that I'm here because I feel like I've learned a lot. I really struggle with prayer and meditation, especially the meditation part. And this is my third time through, and I am, oh shit, I didn't set my alarm. I'm just going to put it for 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord Almighty. This is what happens. People doing tech, I guess I just shouldn't try to share. But anyway, I started doing meditation at night as a way to go to sleep. And because I was trying to do mindfulness meditation and I couldn't. Every time I did a body scan, I would fall asleep when it went past my knees. You know, you start with a body scan, you like feel your whole body without, you know, moving. And I could start with my toes just fine. And I got up through my ankles, but then I got past my knees and I would wake up on my neck. And so I figured, well, I might as well go to sleep that way. And now I'm trying to do more actual daily, you know, meditation, like intentional meditation. And what I've figured out so far is that if I'm taking a bath, I can put on a face, like a mud mask, you know, and those have to sit for about 10 minutes. So I can do a 10-minute meditation and then I'll take the mask off. And I've had to really ease up on it, you guys. I've had to like sneak up on meditation because I've tried all these different things and nothing is really stuck. But the thing about it that I love is that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be good at it. I just have to try. You know, I don't have to be any good at it. I can just keep trying. And I'm really, really grateful for this program for knowing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Risa.
Can I share, Risa?
Yes, you can.
I'm Kerry and I'm an addict. Thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you so much, Robert, for your amazing. I was taking notes from both of y'all. When I've been in the serving all day and honored to serve since like around noon. And when I'm done from this, I'm gonna do two things. The first thing I'm gonna do is look up emotional intelligence, and the second thing I'm gonna do is go eat dinner with my wife. So I can't wait to do it. But man, I really related to you because the way I grew up, you didn't cry. My dad didn't hear it. I wasn't gonna cry around my boys. You get your ass beat. That just wasn't gonna happen. You sucked it up. Went to your bed at night and cried into your pillow if you had a lot of stuff on. This program has taught me to be vulnerable. I don't just go around just crying all the time, but if I have to cry, I've sat in an NA meeting and cried like a baby, and I was the only guy in there. There was no way I would have cried in front of a bunch of ladies. No way. I love the artist Chris Stapleton. One of my favorite songs by him is "Sometimes I Cry." I cry listening to the song. If you never heard it, check it out. Outside Issue. But anyway, and I'm gonna close with this because I want to hear other people. We got time. It took me 27 years before I did my first before I did my first meditation. But we arrive when we arrive. Do I meditate every day? No. But I'm gonna tell you one thing I have done every day since I've been in this program, sometimes multiple times a day. I pray. Now I pray all the time. However, my meditation, it's great when I do it, but I don't always do it. But hey, practice, not perfection. So thanks again, everybody, for being part of my recovery, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks for letting me share.
Great.
Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you, Kerry.
Marcus, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to share?
I would, real brief. I'm at it named Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
So, first of all, thank everyone that shared before me. I was minding my own business, as I like to say. I got off work early, and I was like, well, let me tune in and make sure this thing is up and running. And I really appreciated that everything that was heard, but what tied it together for me as far as where I'm at in my recovery now is when the sister says you ain't got to be good at it. Lately I've been finding myself stumbling across my statement where right now my recovery lies in my attempt. You know what I mean? Like I must just have an honest attempt. Nothing in my recovery began or will end, without an honest attempt or an honest non-attempt. So when she said that kind of helped me put the bat down on certain areas of my life where I know I'm trying. I'm asking for the willingness. I when the brother shared earlier about being able to feel when something wrong. I didn't have that superpower at one time. You know what I mean? I forgot. I think it was the first brother. I don't know. They sounded so similar, but with different backgrounds. But just hearing the program come through. But I needed to hear some key points to where no, I didn't hear everything because my mind bounces around. And I hear things and my mind will latch on to it. But I heard some really key points. And I just want to thank y'all for being here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks,
Alan,
Marcus.
I see your hand is raised. Would you like to share?
My name's Alan, a grateful recovering addict. Yes,
hey, Alan.
thank you.
Hey, Alan.
Thanks for this convention. This is really, really awesome. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job. And I know this is the first time this has ever happened, and you can't expect it to come off without a hitch. And y'all are just rolling right through it. So thanks a bunch. And Jeff, you're my sponsor, and I kind of expected that from you. But what's the man's name? Robert, you blew me away, man. That was just awesome. God, I didn't really expect it to touch my heartstrings like that, but God, dog, man, I had to turn my video off so y'all didn't see me blubbering. But that was just really awesome. This is a great convention. God, dog, I love y'all. Oh, wait, I love each and every one of y'all, and there is not one damn thing you can do about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Jim, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to share?
Sure, thanks. I'm adding him, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you
Jim.
for having this convention. It's been a rough couple of months, and this is exactly what I need to hear. And I get to walk this journey with Robert on a daily basis, and he is a kick-ass, badass dad. I so appreciate the message he shares just by the life he lives. It's not about the words that come out of our mouths. It's not about the speaker meetings or the dances or the service commitments. It's about the way we live our lives. And I get to watch this man live his life for his daughter, and it's just amazing. And to have been on this journey and to experience the ups and the downs, it's amazing. So not to toot his own horn or not to, but the words that came out of his mouth were so true. And last thing I have to say, and because I know we're out of time, the basic text talks about, I believe in step 11, is that learned people do not become learned the first time they try something. And that line was very big for me with the whole prayer and meditation thing, because meditation, boy, it's difficult. But I keep going back to that line. I'm an old teacher, and when I would teach multiplication tables, kids didn't open the book the first day and know their multiplication tables. We practiced, we recited, we did them over and over again. And and that's how I work my program. I don't do it perfectly, and I don't do it right. And like so many of you all, meditation is elusive. It is so elusive. It's the, picture the color orange. Well, I don't know what the color orange looks like. Fill the color red. I don't know. All I know is I want to get out of my head and get some relief. So I just keep trying. I just keep doing different things, and I keep attempting different things. And I have forgotten how important prayer and meditation in step 11 is in the daily program. Because again, it's been a rough couple of months, and it's been hanging on by the seat of my pants some days. So this is exactly what I needed to hear today. So from Colorado, thank you so much for the speakers. Thank you for the message that you shared. I need to hear both those. And to Robert, I love you, and I will talk to you on Sunday to do some step work.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jim.
Wow, that was fantastic. Risa, could you put the 7 tradition up? Do you have that nearby? Thank you.
Got it.
All right, 7 tradition and support for GRCNA. Donate via PayPal using registration at GRCNA.org. Donate via Venmo using at GRCNA Regional Convention -40. I think that's the curly sign, might not be a hyphen. If asked for the last 4 digits of the associated phone, use 0387. Also, you can donate at the website by registering or making a newcomer donation. That's nice. At GRCNA.com/shop. Thank you.
All right. Oh no. Everything's gone crazy. Hold on.
Take your time.
I know it jumped out. I can't put it back in. Oh, Lord Almighty.
Well, we're about to close with the Serenity Prayer. That's all it is. And thank everybody for being here. All right, let's have a moment of silence. Oh, there it is. Okay. Have a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer, the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God. Grant us serenity.
The things that we cannot
accept
and
the wisdom of the devil. Thank you all for letting me serve.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Gary.
you, guys.
Thank you. All I have to do is try, right?
Yeah.
Risa, you gonna get that straight.
Thank you, Risa.
Yes.
Thanks, Risa, Mary
Quinn, Carrie, you did a great job. Robert.
Mary Quinn.
Oh my
Thanks,
gosh,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thanks, Robert, again.
I love y'all. This
Robert,
was a good meeting.
Robert, way to
Wow.
bring it home, buddy. That was excellent.
Really
Yep.
good meeting.
Yeah, it
I'm
was.
so grateful for
Yeah,
y'all.
for real, Wyoming, rocking out.
All right.
Omi
So
in
is
the
y'all whole
house.
state a region? Wyobraska?
Yeah, like, do y'all let ox and moose?
You muted, Robert.
Yeah. Technology evades me. Wyobraska is my area.
Oh wow.
And I'm
So
the
you're in
area
southern
chair.
Wyoming?
I'm the area chair, so I forget to log out of it and go to my own. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah.
Good.
So is
Robert.
it all of Wyoming?
No, we go, so it's Wheeling, Laramie, Cheyenne. So that's like a, I don't know, like 60-mile radius around us, basically.
All right.
Yeah, so we got
cool.
Nebraska, we got part of Nebraska, part of Wyoming. That's why it's Wyobraska, because Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's
All
so
right.
exciting.
What's up?
Wonderful.
Robert, were you at Close Encounters last week?
I was not. No.
Devil's Tower up there. Yeah, out there. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Alan,
you
so
there,
great
Brian?
seeing you, man. Lauren, Jeff, always good seeing you. I'll see y'all on the regular.
See
I
all
have
of
to run away to another thing. I love y'all.
Love you all.
Thank
Y'all
you
have
for
a good
great
one.
week.
See y'all the next one. Bye.
Good job, you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. You did a good
Thank
job
you
too,
for your
buddy. I
service,
appreciate you.
What's your daughter's name, Robert?
Isabella.
Oh,
Isabella,
that's pretty.
beautiful.
That was a great story, by the way. I mean, it's so cool that your higher power told you and you were, you know what I mean? That was super cool.
Yeah, give me goosebumps. Yeah.
It was so weird. It was
I
so
believe
weird.
it though. I mean, I totally had not same, but different, but similar. And it's like, if I just would love all addicts to get together and we could write a book of all those experiences like that. You know,
yeah.
yeah, it was so
It was
cool.
so
Yeah.
freaking weird. Whenever it all started coming together, I was like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And then I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Well,
You know?
That's a
But you were.
goosebump story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
it was
real.
good. It was good. Well, and I was just reading I was reading out of our basic text last night, and I was just like, that story's 10, 11, and 12. You know what I mean? That's a simple way of explaining 10, 11, and 12 without having to I could read the basic text and stuff and, tell everybody what it says, but everybody else can read the basic text for themselves. You know what I mean? How does it work in my life?
Yep.
That's how it worked in my life, So I don't know. Hopefully it was good.
Yeah, no, great.
These things stress me the hell out, man.
It shouldn't. You did good.
Experience, strength, and hope, baby.
Yep.
That's all I got.
We
That's all I got.
appreciate it. Good.
I can tell you how to do it wrong all day long.
All right.
Love you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Bye,
Yeah. Bye, Robert.
See you later.
Bye.